Hello all, welcome to hrtech.in's demo hour, August 2022 edition, organized by hrtech.in. This event is powered by Archili. Archili is incidentally the trusted partner for parsing, matching, and data enrichment for many enterprises globally. And coincidentally, today's session will showcase how we can leverage technology for hiring and onboarding. A really trending topic, I should say. Before that, a quick overview of hrtech.sg and hrtech.in. We host what is Singapore's largest and curated marketplace today of over 150 odd providers. We are also the creators of the Singapore HR Tech Market Map, which is endorsed by IHRP, SHRM, SHRI, and Singapore Poly. We launched our India platform last year, and today we have close to 100 odd providers on the India marketplace, and the India HR Tech Market Map is seeing a lot of adoption by enterprise HR teams in India. We embarked on the HR Tech Demo Hour event series in 2019, much before the pandemic. The purpose of the event was to promote and evangelize the use of HR technologies. So the event is a platform for HR tech providers to showcase their best-in-class tech solutions, thereby aiding the adoption of technology by HR teams. The event motto right from the beginning has been only to showcase demos and not presentations. In fact, the first event happened in September 2019 at our WeWork facility in Suntec, Singapore. And then after the onset of the pandemic, we have moved to an on-demand webinar format. Hopefully, we should move back to an in-person format soon. As you can see from the slides, we've done various demo hour events focused on multiple topics, including how do you leverage technology for university hiring, R&R for a hybrid workforce, conversational AI in HR, how can you leverage tech for talent and development, how can you improve strategic decision-making using people data platforms, so on and so forth. But we come to today's topic, and why have we chosen this topic? We are having this session only because there is an increasing need felt on the ground by HR teams, by recruitment teams for leveraging technology for hiring and onboarding talent. And why are we saying that? Number one, candidate expectations of a consumer grade experience. Now, if you look at organizations, they need to adopt technology to deliver strong candidate experience. Why is that? When they are working remotely or working from home, on one hand, they are having their YouTube, Netflix, Spotify, which are essentially giving them a consumer grade experience. On the other hand, they are working on workplace applications that are on legacy systems that are not delivering the right consumer grade experience. So all the more workplace applications need to provide that consumer grade experience. Number two, if you see in a global and remote work environment today, we need to have an employer of record or a PEO or global employment platforms as a partner, because you got to hire talent wherever they are located, right? And if you don't have an entity, what do? You got to adopt global employment platforms to quickly attract and onboard these talent. Enterprise HR teams are increasingly feeling the need for adopting data for decision making. It's no more instinct-based decision making or a gut-based decision making. The C-suite want data-based decision making by HR teams. Leveraging tech systems provide them with awesome people analytics that can be leveraged by HR teams in ensuring they're able to build talent pipelines, able to present accurate ROI to their leadership for investment in technology. And finally, important aspect, we've got changing workforce demographics. In some organizations, we've got almost 4 to 5 generations of talent working together. In some countries, in some companies, there is declining women in the workforce. In some countries like Singapore, there is an aging workforce. And globally, there is an increased focus on diversity, equity, and not just diversity, equity, inclusivity, and belonging, DEIB. So there are quite a bit of demographic shifts happening in organizations worldwide. Leveraging technology can help them have access to a lot of these tools that can help recruitment teams in better gender parity, fairer recruitment, hiring, and onboarding practices and policies. So this changing workforce demographics is creating the need for recruitment teams to adopt technology. And that's why it's not surprising. If you see on the screen, over $5 billion was pumped into HR tech startups last year that operate in the talent acquisition segment. And this year, already in the first half of this year, over 3.6 billion have been pumped in. There have been a lot of acquisitions, consolidations in the talent acquisitions technology space. But in comparison, if you look at India, it's just about $275 million of investment that has pumped into startups. But we see a lot of traction in this space. And that's why we think we want to be ahead of the curve in doing some of these events focused on recruitment tech. So with so many trends happening in the hiring and onboarding space, we felt this need to have an India demo hour focused on how enterprise HR teams can leverage technology. Now, I'm really happy to say that as part of our expert HR panel to witness these demos, clarify questions on behalf of the many HR professionals who would be watching this in an on-demand format. Very happy to host Enfil Premraj, the head of HR of KLA India, and Setu Ganesan, talent acquisition manager, Cognizant Singapore. Thank you, Enfil and Setu. Really appreciate the time and support that you have provided us. And as part of presenting the demos today, we have 3 best-in-class technology solution providers, Deel, Evalground, and Meritrack. We've got Deel represented by Pree Suresh. We've got Evalground represented by Tushar, Dixit, and Meritrack by Siddharth. So we're going to have these presentations. I'd like to now hand over to Pree from Deel for her 12 minutes of presentation and demonstration. Over to you, Pree.
Thank you, Sriram. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. As Sriram mentioned, I'm Pree and I'm from Deel. Today, I'm super excited to talk to you about our company, our offerings, and how we're helping organizations across the world. So let me quickly share my screen. All right. So Deel is built for today's world of work, and we have multiple different offerings. I'll quickly talk about those. So first, our concept, of course, is helping organizations go international, right? And expand their horizon and hire talent wherever it is available. Especially in today's world with remote work being the new norm, there is no going backwards. This is the way forward, right? So we have contractor management, which will help you compliantly onboard and pay contractors from over 150 plus countries. So here we'll take care of the compliance, payroll for these contractors, automating the invoices, helping manage expenses, reimbursements for these contractors, helping manage their time off, and just helping you manage this international contractor, no matter which part of the world they're at. Next, we have employer of record, and this will allow you to hire employees in countries where you don't, of course, have your own entities, and neither do you have plans to establish your own entities, or you just want to test the waters by initially hiring, let's say, 4 or 5 people through a service like an EOR, and then eventually maybe open your own entity if all goes well a couple of years down the line. And that's also where an EOR service can come in, right? And Deel, we have our own entities, and this is one of our strongest selling points and where we stand out because we don't have third-party entities. We do just have about 8 to 10 entities in that front, but we have over 100 entities that are completely Deel owned, right? And we're present in over 120 plus countries today. So here we will take care of everything, starting from onboarding the employee, doing their payroll, taxation and deductions, statutory benefits, and even offboarding and termination when it comes to that. So all you have to do is identify the person you want to engage with, and Deel takes care of everything else. Finally, we have global payroll. And this is where we want to offload the ongoing cost and hassle of managing payroll, benefits, and taxes for employees that you're hiring either under your own entities, your direct employees, or through a service like an employer of record. So traditionally, the payroll industry, as you all know, has been very, very fragmented. The local laws in terms of taxation and benefits and payroll are ever so changing. And it's very, very hard to find a single payroll vendor who has the expertise and knowledge on these things across the globe, right, on a global scale. And this is where Deel really comes in, because we aim to be that single source of truth when it comes to payroll, because we have such a strong infrastructure through our EOR services. Like I said, we have over 100 self-owned entities, right? So we have local payroll managers, we have local country managers, we have local employee experience specialists, or in other words, local HR folks in each of these different countries. So we already have such a strong in-house team, and we're making use of this core infrastructure that we have for global payroll as well. And the idea is to unify payroll across multiple different locations and not go through the hassle and cost of working across multiple different payroll vendors. All right, so now that I've given you a quick introduction, I'm going to jump straight into the demonstration and show you a high-level overview of how our platform works and how you can manage everything seamlessly in our platform. I can see a chat there. I'm not going to open it. If there's any comments, just feel free to unmute and say it out. All right, so this right here is our Deel platform. So as you can see, right here, this is your single source of truth. This is a single window where you're going to be able to manage your global payroll, your EOR employees, and also your international contractors, right? So right here on this page, as you can see, you have a list of all your international team members, which country, how many members, upcoming holidays in each of these countries for you to know when people in this country are not going to be available. You also have something that we call the employee onboarding tracker. This is especially relevant for full-time employees, right? So as you can see, today, all 6 employees have already been onboarded, but you will have exact visibility into which stage they're at, if they haven't started or if they're onboarding. So as a client, you have complete visibility and transparency into this entire process. Going back, I would also like to show you the approval workflow. So as you can see, 5 pending items need for approval. So this is the approval workflow. So this is when a contractor or an employee submits an expense or a reimbursement from their end. It will come to you for approval based on the workflow that you set up. So you can either review these items individually and approve them, or approve them in bulk. And once you approve these items, they're automatically going to be adjusted against the next pay cycle. So just to clarify, today I'm showing you the client view, right? This is the access that a company is going to have, but a contractor or an employee will also have their own Deel portal where they can countersign their offers, upload their compliance documents, upload expenses or reimbursements, have access to their invoices and pay slips, etc. Now I'll touch upon the step 1, which is how you can create a contract itself. So in Deel, we have 3 different types of contracts for a contractor, which is your fixed rate contract, pay as you go, where you pay them based on the hours or based on the number of tasks that they perform, and a milestone contractor. This is where you pay them as and when they achieve certain milestones along the project timeline. And this right here, your employee, is the contract that you create for a full-time employee, right? So for today's example, I am going to maybe touch upon the fixed rate contractor, just keeping in the time that we have. I can't go through all of them, so I will go through the fixed rate contract for today. So first, you choose which team this contractor is going to be a part of. You can choose maybe the North America team or Asia Pacific or product engineering team, right? So I'm going to choose Deel Global. And which one of your entities are you going to engage with? So let me choose Deel UK, and then you have to input some basic information. So let me input the contractor's name. And the most important field is this particular field where you're choosing the tax residence of this particular individual. So let me just say Denmark, for example. So now based on this information, an entirely compliant contract in Denmark is going to be automatically populated for you within Deel. And this is where the compliance automation happens. So you don't have to bother, learning about the local labor laws, going to an external legal counsel, or even engaging your own legal team, which takes long. Now you input some information about the job itself, like the job title, seniority level, scope of work. Deel provides you with some templates as a starting point, but of course, this whole thing is customizable, so you can enter exactly what you want. And then you input the contractor's start date, let me say 15th August. Next. So with contractors, you have the flexibility to pay them in any currency. So the default local currency is chosen, but if you want to pay them in USD, for example, then that's absolutely possible. So you input the payment. You can also choose the frequency. If you're going to pay them on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis, monthly basis, completely up to you based on the arrangement that you have with your contractor. And now, based on the salary, the country, and also the job title, we will also give you some insights on your pay, right? This is just for you to have a sense of how competitive your compensation is. And this is where you can set up your invoice settings, where you decide when you want to end the invoice cycle, when you want to pay out your contractors, etc. Now, once you've inputted all this information, you can add additional elements to your contract, like a termination date, notice period, attach an additional document like an NDA, etc. And this is where the compliance automation happens. So as you can see, by default, a Deel contract is chosen. And now an entirely compliant contract in Denmark is going to appear for you on the screen. Now, Deel does give you the option to add or remove line items, although we don't suggest it because this standard contract is the one that's been legally vetted by a global network of lawyers. So you can agree and sign it. Once you sign it, the next step is for you to invite a contractor. So it's as simple as inputting their email address here under invite contractor, and then they come onto the platform, countersign, upload their compliance documents, and get started. So it's super simple. Next, I'm going to talk about how you can run payroll or make payments itself, and that's super easy as well. So right here on your home screen, on your dashboard, you can see the payments that are due. So currently, as you can see, I have 14 payments due. And this is across 14 different people, some of them contractors, some of them employees, and they're all getting paid in multiple different currencies as well, like USD, Euro, Krona, etc. So the idea with Deel is you don't make 14 individual transactions, but rather make one transaction of the total amount for these 14 individuals, and Deel will then distribute it to 14 different people in whatever currency that they're going to get paid in. And you can also choose us to pay us in whatever currency that you like. So today, the total amount is about $77,000, right? And I'm going to pay it the bulk amount, and then Deel is going to distribute the funds. When it comes to payment methods, we're quite flexible here as well. You have your ACH, bank transfer. If you have integrations with payment providers like TransferWise, Mercury, you can do that. You can even pay us in crypto through a Coinbase account. That's how flexible we are. And this is really one of the strongest selling points of Deel as well. We're quite flexible when it comes to payment methods, both from making a payment and also on the contractors, and to receive a payment, they have multiple withdrawal options as well. Now, next, I'll quickly just touch upon different tabs like invoices and receipts, where you have a clear audit of all your invoices and receipts, which you can use for your own tax purposes, auditing purposes. Under compliance documents, you have access to all compliance documents of your contractors and employees. So Deel collects them and stores them for you within the tool. So you have access to this. Reports, we have some inbuilt reports, but you can also customize and build your own reports. Under contracts, you have a list of all the contracts that you've sent out through Deel. And if at any point you want to make changes or amend a contract, you can do so from right here. And the last thing that I would like to show you before I wrap up in the next minute or so is showing you what the platform looks like from a contractor standpoint. So now I've switched views. This is the portal from a contractor's end. Right? So as you can see, looks very similar to what you saw earlier, but of course they have different options. They can see their contracts, they can see their transaction history, they can see upcoming payments, and this is where they can withdraw their money. And like I said, there's a lot of flexibility here, and essentially how this works is it works like a wallet. So right now this money is deposited in their Deel wallet, and they have complete flexibility into how they want to withdraw this amount. They can withdraw some into their bank account, some into their PayPal, some into their Wise, or all of it as crypto in their Coinbase account, completely up to the discretion of the contractor. And here they can access their invoices, which they can use for their tax filing purposes, see their transactions. And also Deel has partnered with several companies across the globe. So in our example, let's take Denmark. So based on where you are at, by being a part of the Deel platform, you can also have access to these different perks and make use of them. So I would like to stop with this, being mindful about the time here. So let me stop sharing my screen, and I'm open to questions now.
Thank you very much, Pree. Enfil and Setu, can I request you to turn on your cameras? Over to you, Enful.
Pree, quick question, though you did not cover about EOR employee. May know what is that? Is it like the forward-looking gig economy that we're talking about? Because I saw the word employee, but it under the term of contract.
Sorry, I didn't get that question. So you can manage both employees and contractors within the platform. Of course, the example that I went through today was that of a contractor, but the employees' workflow is very, very similar to that of a contractor with slight differences.
Okay. What does EOR is?
EOR stands for Employer of Record, right? So it is a service whereby you enable companies to hire people as full-time employees, even in countries or regions where they don't have their own entities. Because by law, you are required to have a local entity in a certain region to hire a full-time employee.
Got it. And do you have a dashboard for the legal counsel team to evaluate contracts? And does it promptly give an expiry indication note proactively or something?
Yeah, so the dashboard that I showed you is the dashboard that every function will have access to, right? So it's not one person who's going to have access to this portal. As a client, you can add people from multiple different functions. So your finance team can be in there. They can take care of the payments. Your legal team can just take care of the contracts. So everybody gets access, and you can also control the level of access each of these people get if you want to restrict them from doing certain things.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you for the presentation, Pree. So I just have one question regarding the contract management. So, so does Deel take care of the end-to-end onboarding of a contractor when it comes to the background verification or its complete record, contract records?
Yeah, very good question, right? So yes, the onboarding is done through the Deel platform, and you can request for a background check if you are willing to do that, because certain clients, we know that as part of their onboarding process itself, a background check needs to be done. And if you do need that, you can request for it, and then we will run a background check. So what we do is a soft background check, which is where we will run this person's name across multiple hundreds of databases just to make sure they're not on any criminal list, sex offenders list, etc. So that's what we do, and it can be done.
Okay, and I just like the flexibility that you have in terms of your contract management or the payroll part.
Yes.
But when it comes to the invoicing, right? Like when you do invoice to your clients, how does the currency, or what kind of currency that need to be? Is it a local currency, or it has to be a USD kind of thing, or how is it? Because as in certain countries, we don't have an entity. And then when you wanted to do the payment, it has to be in certain currency, right? So how does it flexibility on the payment part?
Yeah, sure. So for a full-time employee, they have to be paid in their local currency, right? What I showed you now is a contractor, there's flexibility there. But let's talk about a full-time employee. They have to be paid in their local currency, and the money will be directly deposited in their local bank account. Now here, you can pay us in about 12 different major currencies, right? And the invoicing will depend on what currency you're paying us in. For example, let's say you have an entity only in Singapore. So you can pay from a bank account in Singapore dollars, right? Or if you have an entity somewhere in Europe, you can pay from a bank in Europe in euros. And then based on the currency you choose, the invoicing will happen in that currency. And also you will pay into a bank account in that region, right? Because Deel has bank accounts everywhere, and we will provide you the bank details based on the currency that you choose to pay us in. And you have a few different options there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Well, thank you, Setu. Thank you, Pree. That was quite comprehensive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sriram.
I now hand over the proceedings to Tushar from Evalground. Over to you, Tushar.
Hi, everyone, and thanks, Shri. Okay, so what exactly is the Evalground? Evalground, it's a one-stop recruitment solution for the recruiters. So Evalground helps the recruiters in screening of the candidate and also helps them with the ATS to refine their hiring process, helps them to track the life cycle of the candidate from job opening to the onboarding process. How exactly does this work? So Evalground, has different recruitment solutions, And coming on to managing the candidate life cycle and things, Evalground can get the database at one place from different job boards, the candidates who applied for the job, and also helps in screening the candidates efficiently so that you can get the relevant candidate for the company as per your requirements. And when it comes to quantify the skills of the candidate, that is where Evalground excels. Evalground provides various technical and non-technical assessments which help in assessing the candidates, in assessing the or in quantifying the skills of the candidate for which you are looking at in a candidate. That can be also done as per the requirement. And Evalground also offers offer management system, and we also have class management system. So wherein the class and the training programmers, the training institution can manage their classes and the programs as well. So Evalground, in total, if you look at it, it's the one-stop recruitment solution for the recruiters. And as everything is work from home these days, and candidates are being hired remotely. So to to remove that hurdle, Evalground comes into picture. With the help of Evalground, you can conduct pre-employment assessments. You can have various interview rounds scheduled for the candidates who applied for the job. And also, once they are moved to the offered stage, you can roll out the multiple offers to multiple candidates in with single click. So that was Evalground, acts as the one-stop recruitment solution. And for the for the institutions who were facing issues during the COVID time for conducting the online examinations, as students were cheating and stuff. So Evalground provides an anti-cheating environment with advanced proctoring methods, which make sure that the candidate cannot cheat and do other stuff in the exam. So that's these are the four products which came out of that. Okay, all right. So once a recruiter comes onto Evalground and log into the system, so this is the first page they will land on. And through this particular page, they can get to know that what kinds of drive they are conducting, and what are tests which are live, tests which are yet to start, or the drives, and total number of tests they have hosted in the span of 90 days. Next to it, the number of assessment data that they used in the span of 90 days. Below it at the bottom, they can see the recent submission for the drives or for the tests, and next to it they can see tests that are being attempted currently. So with a single click, here you can see there is this applicant tracker. So if I click on that, with seamlessly I can move back to the ATS, wherein I can track the candidate details according to their job profile for which they applied. So here also Evalground offers very detailed insights, like how many positions are open, how many positions have been filled out of total jobs, how many jobs are live, applied candidates who applied through various job boards and landed onto the ATS, and then they filled out their details. And Evalground, once a candidate lands on Evalground's jobs ATS page, Evalground creates a full-fledged profile for the candidate, which makes it easier for the recruiter to shortlist or to reject the candidate. And yeah, this is the hiring funnel process, wherein you would be able to see all the details, and how many candidates are there in which process. So this kind of data will be displayed, and also the time flow of the applicants. Moving next, Evalground also offers tracking the recruiters' performance. So if you have added recruiters to the platform, you would be able to see their summary, or you would be able to track whatever they have done over, in the terms of the recruitment. So what kind of drives they conducted, how many candidates they sourced, how many job they posted on the various platform, and the number of responses they received from there. So all that data can be tracked over here, and also the interviewers report, wherein you can see how many interviews were conducted. Evalground also offers interview tool with live coding editor. So let's say if you are hiring for a tech role, with the help of Evalground's interview tool, you can assess live while interviewing the candidate, that what candidate is, whether the candidate does have that knowledge or not. Is candidate able to quantify the skills, whatever they have written in their resume or not? So those kind of details can also, those kind of things can also be done on Evalground. So moving back to the assessment. So what would be the candidate experience? How candidate would be attempting the test in an anti-cheating environment, and what would be the reports experience for HR. So for that, I have already created one sample test. So I'll just quickly try to attempt it as the candidate. So all this thing, this whole page is customizable. Companies, can put in their logos, and they can put in any instruction or the description according to the test or according to the requirement, whatever they have, howsoever they have designed the test. And candidates need to fill these details in order to, in order to capture the contact details. So a system check would be done, and if any candidate blocks, the camera or the microphone, they won't be able to start the test. So I will have to allow it. As you can see, I cannot do it because my mic is not found. Until unless I allow it, it won't start. Okay, so once the system check is done, this is how the candidates will be able to see that how many sections are there in a test, and they can read all the instruction, whatever is given. And once they click on start test, the test will start in full screen mode. And also, this is how the candidate gets to know that they are being monitored by a webcam. And if they jump outside the test by any means, so let's say the way I did right now, I went to this particular page. My taskbar is disabled. I cannot open any other app, or I cannot do any other thing. When I'll go back to the system, this is how the warning will be issued to me, so that the candidate gets to know that yes, they are being proctored, they are being monitored, and these window counts, these switch counts will be captured. And system will also tell you that what is the time duration candidate spent outside the test. I will showcase you in the reports, and candidate can choose and move on to the next question. They can choose the answer and move on to the next question. And if candidate tries to copy the question, they cannot copy questions and answers as well, or the options. They can copy each and everything apart from questions and the options. So this is exactly the platform works on the assessment side. Moving next, we also have coding assessments, so wherein candidates can come and write the code. On the left hand side, you can see the whole question. This cannot be copied with all the details, whatever is required or is possible. Now on the right hand side, you can see from here, candidates can start writing the code. So they can come to the coding editor and they can start writing code, or whatever the code is they are getting according to the logic. And from this drop down menu, they can choose the programming language they want to write the code in. Or what can be done for this is you can fix the programming languages. So I will showcase you that part in next question. A candidate is supposed to click on compile and run to see whether their code is getting executed or not. And for the hit and trial method, we also provide custom input, wherein candidates can try the methods differently. Moving on to the next question, the programming languages are restricted to Java and JavaScript only. So this is how you can restrict a candidate to write the code in a particular language, programming language. Moving next, we have a couple of submission type of question in which the answer can be submitted in the text-based form. And if candidates even try to copy anything, they cannot paste it in the text box. So copy and pasting is disabled, in the test window. We have one quick question as well. So the answers can be, recorded in different forms. Either it can be in the text box. Candidates can also record the audio, but these has to be evaluated manually because the system cannot judge the audio, whatever the candidate is saying. So whatever the question have been asked to the candidate, that has to be manually evaluated by the HR. But it facilitates, in quick evaluation of the candidate. And similarly, the video can be recorded for the answers as well. So candidates can record the video and they can submit the answer. And if they try to move outside the full screen, they won't be able to mark any answer. This is the error they will get. They will have to go back to the full screen mode in order to answer the questions again. So this is exactly how the system works, and it is seamlessly integrated with other HR useful tools like ATS and offer management system as well. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please shoot them. I'm open for the questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Tushar. Over to Infil and then Setu.
Hey, thank you, Tushar. Do you have any survey for candidate experience feedback that they could obtain and give it to the recruiter as part of your package?
Yes, exactly. When when a company or a recruiter candidates conducts the exam, we capture the feedback from the candidates that how was their experience, and we share it across with the
and it happens all through the life cycle of the recruitment process, or only at the time on online coding?
It happens through the whole life cycle.
Okay. Right.
Does system record the full video of the exams? That would mean a lot of server space. Actually, yes, system captures. We have 3 different features on that. We have a candidate snapshot capture that are being captured in every 10 to 15 seconds for the whole test duration. And for the video recording, yes, system can also record the candidate's video via webcam, and screen can also be recorded. So wherein everything gets captured, and these recordings are available for the 9 months of period. After 9 months, these recording will get deleted automatically. So this is the server space duration which we provide to our clients.
Setu?
Okay, so does this support a mobile application, or it's just a web-based?
Actually, it supports mobile application, and you have total liberty whether you want your candidate to allow the test on to attempt the test on mobile devices or not. It is highly customizable. The platform is designed in such a way so that a recruiter can use all the functions at their will. It is not mandatory that this function should be used with the platform. It is in the hands of recruiter. With a couple of toggles, they can disable a feature and they can enable a feature.
Okay, so it has the full functionality of what it is there in the web also, right? In terms of the
correct
mobile.
Correct.
Okay, and in terms of the library questions, is it a predefined one that you have, or the hiring managers and recruiters can?
Okay, so on the library front, we have a vast library. It has 16,000 plus questions irrespective of domain, and our library gets monthly updates. So our SME team always works on creating the new question, and whatever the older questions are there or which have been curated into assessments many times, those get replaced with the sets of new questions. And apart from this, we also provide private library that is available for the particular recruiter, and they can add and remove their own questions to it.
Okay, so it still can be done. It can be customized in terms of.
Correct. It can be customized in every aspect. And even if the recruiter is adding their own programming question, we have auto evaluation for that as well. So in many platform with the survey, whatever we have seen is there is no auto evaluation for the question that are added by the recruiter or the third party. But on Evalground, it is not like that. Even if you are adding an MCQ, we have auto evaluation for that, and even for the coding questions, we provide the compiler.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Tushar.
Thank you, Tushar, Infil, and Setu. We now move over to Siddharth for the demo and presentation by Meritrack. Over to you, Siddharth.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and I would like to present couple of slides about Meritrack and Unext, which is our parent company. So talking about Meritrack, if I have to mention what are the salient features. See, Meritrack has been in the assessment space for about 22 years now. We have been doing skills assessment for the past 22 years in various domains and various sectors, including government, educational institutions, and corporate assessments. Now, inherently, we are a fully owned subsidiary of Unext Learning Private Limited, which is again a company which comes under the MEMG group, which is inherently the Manipal Global Education Group. And this is the same group which runs the Manipal hospitals, which runs Manipal Cigna, and Meritrack is part of the same group of companies. Now, I'll not go into the details of how much we have covered in 22 years because that might be too much. But inherently, we have the complete scope of doing assessments all across India in various formats, be it pen and paper, be it center-based, be it remote proctored, be it remotely proctoring the proctors, etc. I mean, we have a broad range of things which we have done till now. And also we are ISO 9001, 27001, 27701, certain CMMI. We have, multiple security aspects and multiple quality aspects which we cover through various external and internal audits. And along with that, Meritrack, as I said, has a 22 years experience in running skills assessment, and due to which we have an in-house content management team which does wholly and solely the creation of items, creation of content, creation of questions, which can be used for different skills assessment. Specifically, if I have to say what is the specific platform out of the bouquet of platforms which Meritrack offers, I would like to talk about Talent Next. Why I talk about Talent Next here is because in the current scope of discussion, it is probably more directed towards the HR recruitment and the user journey for how an assessment or how the recruiter lifecycle runs. So Talent Next, in a nutshell, is a next-gen end-to-end assessment ecosystem. As I said, we are the core competence of Meritrack is running assessments, be it for any type, be it of any kind. But how do I deliver those assessments is of critical importance as of now. So what we have done is we have created a platform wherein recruiters can run through the complete journey, right from creation of a job role, using skills, how many number of job roles are there, etc., candidates applying for that job roles, the recruiters assigning assessments to these candidates, and then in a very easy and easy to use manner, the candidates taking those assessments, and then finally those assessments being evaluated and the score sheets being provided. The recruiters then there are two next steps which they can take. They can either request them for a virtual GD, or they can ask for a virtual interview, and then finally they can ask for certain documents for the candidates to upload, and finally marking the candidate as onboarded or selected. It's a born on cloud solution, so it's highly scalable. The uptime is very, very high, and obviously we have very high concurrencies which we can support. Now, again, if I have to give a brief about what Talent Next does, and I divide it into three different parts. I would say that pre-assessment, during assessment, and post-assessment. In pre-assessment, we talk about two different aspects. One is from the HR recruiter's perspective, wherein I would say that you can create a job role, you can ask candidates to register, you shortlist those candidates, and then probably you schedule an assessment for them. But where does this assessment come from? So it can inherently come from Meritrack, because Meritrack has, as I said, an in-house full-fledged content development team dedicated to creating content for various skills. Otherwise, if the company has the capability and it thinks that it can, they can maintain their own question banks, we give them complete authority and opportunity to do that. We have a QBM, which is question bank management and question lifecycle management process on the platform, wherein different skill tags, topics, etc. can be created, items can be tagged to them, assessments can be created using templates or without using templates. And then finally, those assessments can be used by the recruiter to send it out to the candidates. So what I would like to emphasize upon is that it's a single window operation kind of a scenario, wherein we give the self-serve opportunity also, and we also have, obviously, 22 years of experience in assessments. We have a team for almost everything, right from content to delivery to help desk to monitoring the candidates, remote proctoring, auto proctoring. You can name it, we would probably have a team for it. So if it has to be a man-managed solution, we would be more than happy to provide you those services. But If you don't want any services to be provided in a man-managed way, and you want to do it completely on your own, you can be sure that the platform gives you a self-serve model as well. During the assessment, the candidate can have remote proctoring, which is basically a way of monitoring the candidates through a video, audio, and screen share option. We have a 360-degree webcam also, which is incorporated. We can view the complete room. The proctors can view live recordings. There is a proctoring of proctor features. I mean, a host of features wherein we can make sure that the exam is 100% authentic. Along with that, we have multiple types of assessments which we can run: behavioral, cognitive, domain, and we can run linear on-the-fly assessments, wherein each and every candidate will probably get a unique question paper depending on what pool of questions do we have. Now, moving very quickly to the post-assessment, because I want to dive into the platform, because it's a demo hour, so I'd like to give more of a demo. In the post-assessment segment, it's just group discussions, virtual interviews, both recorded and live, and then probably you can view at the reports. Reports can be in PDF, it can be in Excel. You can do this whole platform can be integrated with different HRMS, ATS, wherever you want the assessments to be available. We can do that. Now, last but not the least, very quickly, the interview platform. As you can see, it's completely integrated into the system. There is no external tool or third-party tool which is to be downloaded by the candidate. Now, moving to the demo. Now, I would first like to show a little bit from the admin perspective, and then very quickly move on to the candidate side. From the admin perspective, if I have to say that, which is the first page you land at, you land at the dashboard. You get all the information, right from how many invites are we tracking to how many job roles. You can change the various options. You can change the date range, and also you can see how many candidates are there. You can see it for the month, year, whatever it is, whatever you want, date range you want to do. This is the pre-assessment segment, wherein, as I said, you have a host of options like creating your skills, creating topics, creating questions. We have a reviewer approver flow for these SMEs, subject matter experts as well. You can create job roles, and you can also upload candidates. We have options of having feedback and mandatory information form. So before the assessment, you want candidates to fill out certain information. We have mandatory information form for that. And similarly, a feedback form can be placed at the end of the assessment. Now, either the assessment is coming from the candidate, from the company, or it is being provided by Meritrack. All of them will be listed out here on the screen, as you can see. And these assessments are, you can put in as many filters as you want, and you can search for the exact assessment. Say, for example, I'm choosing this assessment. There is a complete workflow for inviting the candidates, and then you can also switch on remote proctoring. You have various mechanisms. You can send across various. There are a host of options. Like, for example, you can add a new candidate directly, or you can choose from an existing list of group. Say, for example, I'm choosing from here. And then click on next. So as I was saying, MIF, which is mandatory information form, feedback form, remote proctoring. I can switch on remote proctoring. It says auto or manual, so we have both the options. Auto proctoring will basically help you in making sure that the candidate is monitored by the AI system. And then on the next step, you can always add different messages, etc. Now, having sent this information to the candidate, how does a candidate experience it? The candidate has a very simple dashboard to look at. The candidate will simply receive a username and password. Using that username and password, they will log into the platform. And I'm just switching off my camera. And they will each and every assessment will be shown as a card, and they can click on start. The idea here is that we don't want the candidate to be technically very sound, etc. We just want the candidate to have very basic information about each and every step. So I'll just once again. Okay, so if say for example we want the candidate to start the assessment, they just need to click on start, and they will be able to start the assessment. So the idea here is that the candidate does not have to have too much technical know-how to take an assessment. We just want simple internet understanding for the candidate to take the assessment, and that is all that mostly is required for a candidate to take the assessment. On the dashboard, another card will be shown. I can click on this and start the assessment. So for a candidate, it's very simple. A question is shown on the screen. They can choose the answer. They can go to the next. There is a timer which is running on the right-hand top, and then there is a question panel. Candidates can move between question panels and different sections. Please note that all of this is configurable. We may or may not use it depending on what is the amount of liberty we want to give to the candidate during the assessment. I would very quickly like to show you two things. Point one, in the test administration panel, you can very clearly see how many candidates are currently taking the assessment. Test player is connected, 59 minutes are remaining, and what was the last thing received. Similarly, we have a drive manager as well. So say, for example, if I want to manage a campus drive, how do I manage a campus drive? So say, for example, you go to a campus and you send across an assessment. This assessment, you can search and you can see how many candidates are taking the assessment, total invited, how many are active, how many are in progress. You can see that this attempt is in progress. You can see the IPs, how many questions has the candidate answered till now, and it is in progress and the test player is currently connected. So at all times, you have complete control about for the candidate's attempt. And very quickly, going to one of the major features which we always try to showcase, we have a package. So say, for example, there are 2 or 3 different assessments which you want to run, but you want to put a stop gate in between. Let's say, for example, the candidate needs 60% to reach out to the next assessment. In that scenario, I'll just very quickly end the test. And on the dashboard, I would like to show you that in case you want to run the first assessment and then unlock the second assessment, if and only if the candidate clears a certain level, we can configure the package in that fashion. Although the invite will remain the same, but still the candidate will be able to move on to the next assessment only after clearing the first. Now, very quickly, talking about a few reports which we generate. So we have PDF reports, we have Excel reports. I would very quickly like to show you one of the, this is an MCQ assessment and the report is generated. Similarly, we have a remote proctoring report as well, which clearly shows you the credibility as to how much the AI system believes in this assessment. And similarly, we can also see what are the session details, what is the device information. We track multiple anomalies like focus change to a different window, no face, or several faces looking in the camera, etc., etc. Similarly, we have coding assessments wherein we give all the information about the performance summary, how many solutions were submitted, what is the score, each and every test case, whether it was passed or failed. And similarly, behavioral assessments wherein we give clear information about what are the different competencies which are tracked, etc. And last but not the least, we also do speech assessments wherein we focus upon pronunciation, word stress, fluency, and grammar. These are only a few to name, but I mean, having been in the assessment business for 20 years, we have tried our hands with almost every kind of assessment. You can name them, and we can probably give you an example of that. So that's it from my side. This is what I wanted to share. If there are any questions, please.
Thanks, Siddharth. Over to Enfil and Setu.
Siddharth, thank you very much. One of the pain points that recruiters go through is to keep following up with candidates to complete the assessment or the online test, mostly in the professional hiring space. How does your platform help solve the problem for the recruiter?
I mean, I have heard this question so many times. Thank you so much for asking that again. We have a reminder system. We can set it up while I was sending the invite. There is an option to set up a reminder. So basically, until and unless the assessment is completed, we can set up to 4 reminders. So either it can be you send a reminder every 24 hours once, or if you want a reminder to be sent to the candidate just before the assessment, we can do so as well. So an automated reminder is a possibility on the platform.
Okay. And you can do bulk scheduling of candidates.
Yes, we do allow you to upload an Excel sheet with 100 to 200 candidates, and you can do bulk uploading.
And one quick question is, how do you do this behavioral question that gets asked as part of the online assessment? Yeah.
Okay, so we have as I said, we have a in-house content team wherein we have a dedicated psychometrician in-house who keep on reviewing and working on behavioral assessments. And to be honest, we also help quite a few companies with customized behavioral assessments depending on what is the exact role and what are the exact competencies for which they are running the assessment for. But we have certain flagship assessments which are standard off-the-shelf assessments for behavioral, which we provide. But if those do not suit the requirement, we are more than happy to build one.
All right. Thank you, Siddharth.
Thanks.
I just have one question, Siddharth. So in the pre-assessment, I see that there is a job creation and candidate registration. So how does it work in Meritrack? Like, because basically it's an assessment tool platform, but I see that you're giving that liberty to create a job and then the candidate registration. So how does it work?
Absolutely. So so we have been asked this question in the past that, okay, you solve for the assessment piece, but my journey starts from the place wherein I have to create a skill, or this is the skill which I am looking for, right? So just to make sure that the recruiter's journey is seamless and it is easier for the recruiter to club an assessment with the actual final goal which they are trying to achieve, which is basically doing hiring or doing a campus selection, right? So we created a small module, which is, I would not say it's a full-fledged ATS. Why? Because we don't live in that space. We live in the assessment space, but we do help the recruiter in creating a job role with the skills which are required, educational qualifications, etc. Allow the candidates to view it and apply for it, and then shortlist and send across the assessment. Although our core competence is running assessments, but I mean, making life easier for the recruiter is always major task, right?
Okay. And since it's a global platform, like how do you ensure this personal data privacy and the security is taken care of?
Yeah, so PII is one of the most important things which we protect, and we are ISO 27001 and 27701 compliant. We also are, I mean, those are the privacy standards which we follow. In quality, we follow 9001, ISO 9001, and along with that, even at the development level, we are CMMI L5 compliant. So basically, at the development stage, it starts with the exact question: is this information really required? If it's not required, don't ask for it. And if it is PII, definitely don't ask for it. So, so I mean, we follow all these standards globally.
Thank you, Siddharth. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Enful, Setu, and thank you, Siddharth. Definitely the key element that we have really seen today's demonstrations is that candidate experience is the fulcrum for whatever we do. And it is important that the HR teams and more specifically recruitment teams leverage technology as part of their hiring process, which will really make them become a more strategic business partner than just being tactical and very operational. Thank you very much, Setu and Enful. Really appreciate the time and effort. And thank you to Deel, Evalground, and Meritrack for their presentations. We hope to host all of you at the next edition of the Demo Hour. And special thanks to Paramdeep and Archili for yet again partnering with us on the Demo Hour throughout 2022. Thank you, Param. Thank you, Archili. And see you at the next Demo Hour. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Shreya.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
Setu.
Bye.
Okay.